Magic lies in the mind, but my blade follows.
Alright guys, let's get this one knocked out. All the testing is done, all the kinks have been worked out, and now I can finally say welcome to my Khufra Kwik guide. A lot of tank mains have been anxious for this guy's release since there's almost no one who can compete with Grok's damage right now. You should be seeing the way the Kwik guide is outlined on your screen right now, so after giving you a rundown on his skills, we'll go over some combos and tricks, as well as explain his strengths and weaknesses, or when to pick this guy. Honestly, I'm going to stop trying to explain how the devs do their math and skill descriptions. That kind of stuff only matters when you're concerned on maximizing damage on a hero, which I have done for Khufra, but I will explain this in the build section of the video. So Khufra's in a nutshell skills begin with his passive. Every 12 seconds, Khufra will get a long-ranged basic attack that will heal 8% of his max HP while also dealing damage based on the enemy's max HP and slows him down. His first skill is a long distance dash that will stop upon contact with an enemy hero or when the max limit for the skill has been reached. If it does stop on contact with an enemy hero, the enemy hero will be knocked up, and the longer you charge this skill, the longer the knockup. Plus, if you do hit an enemy hero, you also get a 4-second reduction on the passive, so there's that. The knockup is also AoE in a small circle around the impact zone, meaning you can knock up multiple targets if you aim it correctly. Skill 2 is probably where this guy will become a meme at. He turns into a ball that bounces 3 times and does damage to enemies. While this ball cannot push enemies away, it can prevent them from using directional blink skills. So skills like flicker, fanny cables, or Harith dashes will be stopped from moving, although they still obtain their passives in cases like Harith. Harith still gets this shield. It will not stop skills like Alice, Claude, or Harley, which are more like teleport blink skills. Skill 3 is a displacement skill, and I like to think of it as an AoE Moskov skill too. His ultimate will push enemies in a specified direction, and if they hit a wall, they get stunned. It's simple. In my opinion, Khufra will definitely be a meta tank since all these blinks and skills are the bane of ranked games at the moment. But let's go on to the recommended emblem and talent. I would have never thought of myself actually recommending the attack and defense talent for a tank, but alas, there's always a first time for everything. When using Khufra, I recommend you take the attack and defense talent with the tank emblem for maximum damage while still being tanky, or for maximum sustain, simply switch over to Brave Smite. Also, if you really want to be damaging, take the support emblem maxed on Hybrid Pen. But you didn't hear that from me. Oh boy, the build is next, isn't it? Yes, it is. Alright, time for the disclaimer. Khufra is a tank, and if you are going to solely play him as a tank, there's no better build than counter building. If you don't know what that is, basically counter building is a playstyle most tank mains use in order to take the least amount of damage from enemies. So basically, if there are 89 mages on the enemy team, you build magic res items and not blade armor. Or if there are 97 Claudes, you build defense and not Athena shield. However, if you intend to play Khufra as an aggressive tank, I have worked out 2 builds for you that I have already taken to ranked. The first build still maintains the tank title as there is only 1 damage item included for a good reason. If we go back and take a quick look at all of Khufra's skills, we see that the passive and ultimate both rely on total physical attack, while skills 1 and 2 rely on extra physical attack. Why is this important? Well, because the ones that rely on total physical attack get a boost from Blade of Despair's passive, but not the other 2. Let me take you guys in game so you can see this a little bit better. I'll show you the damage from a maxed out Khufra that is armed to the teeth with attack and defense talent. Let's take a look at his skills damage in order. I'll keep these on the screen for reference. Next, I will show you the damage with Brave Smite equipped instead of attack and defense. And finally, using, of course, the damage build. Now before you go like, holy crap, 3 point whatever thousand damage from this passive alone, keep in mind that the reason you see a big number is because his passive deals damage based on an enemy's max HP. So versus a Layla who has a more normal HP pool, this is only 700 damage when she is level 15. It's still a significant amount, but of course this thing isn't necessarily spammable. Also, by now you should have noticed that the damage from the damage build isn't even that much more. So why even sacrifice that much defense and HP in order to get similar results? Well, the answer here is DPS, damage per second. Overall, Khufra has some crazy long cooldowns, and with a damage build, you can be doing that much damage basically every 3 seconds because of 40% cooldown. Well, why not equip cooldown tank items instead then, Zero? Great question. You are forced to build at least one physical attack item if you want to do any kind of heavy damage with Khufra, because his bouncy ball relies and scales with extra physical attack and max HP. And I'll let you guess what raises extra physical attack besides attack items. That's right, the attack and defense talent, and in this case by 48 points. That may not seem like a lot, but it actually adds 300 damage to the bouncy ball alone, while also boosting his other skills as well. I recommend you play Khufra aggressively with adequate support. He is super strong, but he is rather weak if caught alone and bursted down. When you play Khufra, always try to get in front of the directional blink enemies, while at the same time close to walls so that you can pin them down to the wall if they get too aggressive and get too close to your allies. Or at the very least, push them away. Khufra is definitely an aggressive tank and should be played as such, otherwise his performance would be hindered. There's also a couple of noteworthy mentions here. His skill casting in general is slow, so they can all be interrupted. So just be aware that his bouncy ball can be interrupted by knockups, his skill 1 can be intercepted by tanks, and his ultimate can be stopped again by any type of knockup. So there are some limitations to how fast he can actually save and execute combos. With that being said, there is a basic combo to Khufra in which you use skill 1 to engage, use your bouncy ball to deal damage, and then you use your ultimate to pin enemies to a wall. But if you're like me, what you'll do is engage with skill 1, nail them to the wall, and after they're stunned, that's when you go bouncy ball on them. What difference does it make, you say? Well, it just gives you a lot more time for skill 1 to recover in case you need to escape or chase a kill. You can also surprise enemies with flicker and your ultimate. If you do this, make sure you save skill 1 to focus and engage a priority target once they realize they have been displaced. Khufra's strengths are extreme teamfight potential against directional blink enemies, but suffers if caught alone by burst heroes. In terms of heroes he's compatible with, he's pretty much solid in any formation, except when facing enemies that don't really have blink damage skills, like most immobile mages, marksmen, and fighters do. He is particularly weak against the true damage / demon hunter sword and knockups as well. Khufra should always be picked when the enemy has a Fanny, Harith, Guzhan, Lancelot, Selena, or other similar dash dive based heroes. He is definitely not ban worthy, but will most likely make a huge impact on hero choices, along with Minsithar, who is slowly creeping into the meta. As always, here's my insight on him. If this guide helped you out, make sure you share it with your friends, as that is the greatest gift you could possibly give me. Zero out.